Welcome. Thanks everyone for coming out. Thanks Jefferson. Thanks to Jeff and PNC. This is a great speakers lineup, and great to kick it off with Coach Cal. I was just talking to your, got some intel. I was talking to your college coach at Clarion. I said,
Coach DeGregorio, where are you?
Exactly. He gave it up. I don't know if he knew I was going to quote him. What kind of player was he anyway? He always knew exactly where the ball had to go. He was always at the right place at the right time. He always made plays. We had better shooters. We had better passers, but I've never had anyone so precise.
He didn't have a better shooter, and he didn't have a better passer.
Take that up with the, I said, that was a great description of a future leader, and it did not take you long. I was doing the math. Man, I mean, you did not take you long to break into this coaching business, and the record speaks for itself. Jeff gave you the stats. I encourage everyone, by sidebar, go to YouTube and watch this guy's Hall of Fame induction speech. It's really poignant and like no other speech I've ever seen in that situation. But apart from winning a lot of games and winning a national title, you also have minted more pros than any other coach. There are more Kentucky players in the NBA than any other school has ever sent to the NBA at any one time, which is just phenomenal. And if college sports are in part about developing, and there's a level higher, you're sending them there. But let's just sort of start general, and as you know, we're happy to take questions from the audience. Try and write a little legibly. I'm north of 50 now, and I'm gonna have to squint, but write any questions and we'll get to those. But I figured you and I will just sort of talk casually. Let's just sort of talk about college sports. And it's, Big Ten, I think, is up to 16. We're like running out of fingers and toes for the Big Ten. There are now Big Ten schools in New Jersey. They're soon to be coming to California. Watching football this weekend, and you say, wait a second, Texas and Oklahoma are in the Southeastern Conference? You've got teams and schools making tens of millions of dollars in conference revenue, players transferring, and I mean, just broad 35,000 feet. What's going on with college sports these days?
John, let me say this. None of them tell you, I was fired by the New Jersey Nets. They kind of leave that out of my introduction, but that happened. I will tell you that, we had Governor Ridge we talked to today. I think it's really important that we really protect amateur sports, and what we're all going through right now. You think about, like I'm coaching my team right now and showing them about Aaron Judge hitting home runs and how he's about winning and being a great teammate, even though he knocks a homer out and ties Babe Ruth. And now I get a chance to teach and show, well, I'm just one coach. There are thousands of coaches doing that to our young people. And when it's about bringing young people together to accept one another, to respect one another, to celebrate one another, to compete against each other, yet still stuff that is good that we got to protect. So we got the transfer portal, we got name, image, and likeness, we got all that's going on with the leagues, but I'm confident that we'll figure it out. And I will tell you, I say this all the time, if we make decisions for the young people, we will not make a mistake. If it's about something else, you make mistakes. Hello.
That's a great point, right. You were saying, make decisions with the best interest of the kids.
And I try to do everything we do when we practice what we do. How does this affect them? Not how does it affect me? What are we going to do? If we all take that approach to what we're doing, you're going to make good decisions for everything else.
It's funny, we talk sometimes about industries in flux, and it's sort of newspapers and coal mines, and it usually means that there's technology that's been a disruption. With college sports, it might be in flux, but it's because everyone likes it so much. If the supply and demand are going like this and we can't get enough of it and networks can't put enough games on TV.
Can I help you?
Yeah, exactly. Not just a basketball coach. He does IT also. How are you managing this, and how are you also keeping in mind that the reason why you have this is because people love college sports?
Okay, John, I'm going to ask people here, how many are in a business that is changing weekly, monthly? Almost everybody. I mean, you think about going in a restaurant now, and they don't have a menu. You put your phone up against you think about phones. They talked, it was only in, I think, 2007. I think the phone you got was Nokia. I believe it was. Now, I don't even know, do they still sell phones? So there's chaos in everything. I would just say this. My mindset has always been, what's next, and how can we be first at it? What's coming up? We prepared for name, image, and likeness for 2 years. I tried to tell coaches that you're worried about APR, which is about graduation and all that. Name, image, and likeness in the transfer portal, if you're not ready for it, it's going to bite you. And so we spent 2 years preparing what will we do, what don't we want to do, how do we want to do this, hiring a player welfare person that would come in and be between us and all that business, because you won't believe this. I got to coach basketball. I don't have time to be in the middle of what a business is going to do with one of my players. So now the stuff goes to a player, through player welfare, to compliance, back to the player, and it gets done. Transfer portal. I have no problem if a young person gets to transfer. None. Anybody that transferred from our program prior to these rules, which are you don't have to sit out, free agency, leave when you want to leave, play at the next school, in your league. I would always do what I could to help a kid, young man, play right away. I didn't need him to sit out. Why am I punishing him? But to transfer 2 and 3 and 4 times, now you got a problem. It's not good for the young people to let them do that. If a coach lies to a player, that player should transfer. He lied to him. You didn't tell him the truth. I'm out, and a coach leaves or gets fired. Shouldn't that player be able to leave and go to another school? But if a player's transferring 3 times, you tell me what's the chance of them getting a college degree. There is none. So what about a young person now having some adversity and having to deal with it instead of run? So I'm for being able to transfer. I just don't think 3 and 4 times. Now, I'm going to age some of you. Did you guys know, ladies, that I coached at UMass? Raise your hand if you know, so I can see how young this. Well, we got a lot of old people here. So, if I were still at UMass, I recruited Jimmy McCoy, Anton Brown, Will Herndon, Tony Barbie, Harper. Those kids would have stayed 1 year. Well, they stayed 4. And in their 3rd and 4th year, we became really good. We were good. And then all of a sudden I had Edgar Padilla, Carmelo Travieso, Lou Rowe, Dante Bright, Dana Dingle, Marcus Camby. I had that group for 3 years. Well, guess what? We were really good. They're not staying now. So what do you do as a coach? They only give you so many visits. They give you 12. What if your whole team transferred? How are you going to do this? On top of it, even not worrying about that because you can have waivers, if we're moving kids around, we're not holding them accountable, I think we're doing them a disservice. And all the stuff about we'll get sued, Make it about education. We can't have it because they're not going to graduate from their school. That's the transfer portal.
You're saying a school like UMass, if they had the transfer portal then, these bigger schools that were more prominent at the time would have come and
As soon as they saw the kid was real good, they would have gotten through to him, boom, and he would have been gone. Kentucky, this benefits us. If a kid wants to transfer to make it better and he's good enough and he wants to come to Kentucky, they want to come here because they want to finish their career, and Kellen Grady did. You know, then all of a sudden no one really knew Kellen, and in the end he gets a chance to be in with the now he's going to be in the G League, but he's with Jamal Murray and the Denver Nuggets, I believe. So it just, you know, the bigger schools are going to benefit because kids will want to go there. So I think one-time transfer is good. The other, we got to figure it out because I'm not sure it's going to work.
This will be like the boring few minutes, then we'll get to the fun stuff. But just, I feel like sports fans, we hear NIL, and people kind of sort of get that it means that the players can get a little money, and if, you know, there's a death in the family, they now have the means to get home, and it seems like most people think it's fair, but I feel like there's very little. I had a college coach actually call it NFT. I said, that's one too many NFT. Can you just breathe? How does this work? Like,
how much do you know about name, image, and likeness? That the players have the ability. See, I always thought we should let them be able to sign autographs and be paid for it. It's their name. They want to say, well, they couldn't. Well, what about the name on the back of the jersey? Can they not sell that? I didn't see why not. It's their name. It's not our name. It's their name. The problem comes into name, image, and likeness was you have a value because of what you've done, and you should be able to benefit by that value. If it's you come to my school, you're going to make $200,000. How is that? Tell me how that works. What's the value? Are they going to have a job, or are you just going to tell me? So we've got to figure out how we get this organized. 12 players, folks, I can do it with 12 players. The businesses call our player welfare, who they want to talk to, do a contract through that. I've given them my camps. And I did that so that all the kids could share. So every kid on the team has a chance to do something. The best players on my team, they have agents. So they're first-round draft picks. The agent goes and does it. I don't have to do it, but it's got to go through compliance so everybody knows what it is. But I only have 12 guys. I do not believe in collectives. I'm not feeling collectives. I don't want anybody to own my team. What are they going to tell me? Who to play? If you don't play this guy, we're not giving him. I need you to fire your assistants, or we're not giving anything to anybody. I'm not feeling that. And so we're doing it in a way where each player has an opportunity and they have to sign contracts, and they do it that way. I'm not begrudging anybody that does a collective. If you feel comfortable doing that, I'm all for it. I go in the home and I tell the kids, we were just in Kokomo. I know we came from Kokomo here. You think it's only a song. It's a real place, Kokomo. And we were in Kokomo, and Orlando and Teague was my assistants here with me. I told the kid, you don't come to Kentucky for name, image, and likeness. You don't. Now, you'll make more here than anywhere else, but that ain't why you come here. You come here for this culture, for this stage, for the ability to compete every single day against players as good as you. I tell kids all the time, if you walk in a gym and you're by far the best player in the gym, you're in the wrong gym. You need to go where you walk in and you call your family and you say, oh my goodness, I didn't realize I got to work. I got to get better. Or you say, I'm going to put my name in the transfer portal. So, I look at all this. The name, image, and likeness has also gone into the transfer portal. I'm going to put my name in the transfer portal so I can see if I'll have any offers. Now, I'm going to give you the difference between basketball and football. A basketball player only has to stay 1 year. If he is a first-round draft pick, does he stay? He's gone. So whoever's left are second-round picks, maybe, or they're not undraftable players. So that's who's moving around in college. In football, they got to stay 3 years. So after one, that wide receiver may be a top 10 pick, and he leaves. Totally different. You got two different sports that are doing different. When you start talking 3 years, it changes things. So I'm just trying to do the same thing. What's next? How are we first? John asked me the question, are you still enjoying it? And I love what I do. I love going in homes. I love meeting families and hearing their stories. I love hearing what their dreams and aspirations are. There's some laughter. Sometimes there's some tears. But, the other thing, the recruiting done, all this trying to figure out, the game is changing. I love, my staff will say, you change too much. You're changing everything. I love doing that. And here's my other comment. There ain't no crying on the yacht. The job I have, my dad was a baggage handler. Come on now. My mom worked at the junior high school cafeteria.
Great pizza, I heard.
Yeah, that's right. But she
pizza.
did the ice cream for a dime. So for what my dad, you know what he says to me? Any Italians? I don't know what you're doing, kid, but keep fooling them. So, there's some upheaval, there's some chaos, but it's still a good thing. And so we just got to make sure whatever decisions, make them for the kids. If we do, I'll give you one thing. I don't mean to, I do dominate things, but I don't mean to. So do you remember when we weren't allowed to feed the players? Do you remember that? That wasn't long ago. And the only reason it got changed, you know why it got changed? Because a player from Connecticut went on TV and said, I'm starving. We're in the Final Four. I can't get $2 for a hamburger. And there was outrage. And it changed in a week that we could give, listen to me, bagels, but no cream cheese. What? You can't give a bagel without cream cheese. Why could you not give cream? That's an extra benefit. What are we talking about? So that stuff changed. You talked about they have a fund now that if someone dies and you got to go to a funeral, or there's an emergency, a close, there's different things that they've done. It just took 82 years. Now we're in this position of name, image, and likeness, and we're going to have to do this thing right. And, smart people got to get together and say, how do we do this? And you can't do anything that does away with amateur, or I should say Olympic sports. Every sport is important. They're young people being taught things that are going to help them the rest of their life. You can't say we're only going to have 4 sports and the rest of them have to go away because we can't afford them. Can't do it. There's got to be another solution. So, and that solution I don't know. I haven't thought about it yet.
You have colleagues who don't necessarily feel that way. Hey, listen, we're making the money. We're tired of subsidizing golf and track and diving. You guys either go be a club sport or raise your... So when you say that, it makes sense? Not everyone agrees with it.
My background is UMass and Memphis, so anytime I'm trying to think about what I do, I always have those schools in the back of my mind. And not all the schools rely on football and basketball to fund everything. We had 30-some sports at UMass for a while, 30, and they were funded. And so, I think you can do this, and, again, we're all paid outrageously. If you're in coaching right now, it's outrageous. Again, my dad said, I don't know what you're doing, just keep doing it. Keep doing it. But, and again, you know, you look at what we're able to do on a college campus. I was at UMass, and I'm not saying it was just men's basketball. We had open enrollment. You know what open enrollment is? If you applied to the University of Massachusetts, you were accepted. And that was in 1990 or 1989, 90. And all of a sudden, things got hopping, and there was some enthusiasm. And all of a sudden, everything now, test scores started going up. They opened up the University College, which it's its own college, and they built a campus. I go up to UMass right now. It's crazy. Unbelievable school. Ivy League standards. Yeah. In 88 and 89, it's open enrollment. As a matter of fact, they also had, what is it when they take a month of your pay? What do they call that? Yeah, they furloughed us. Yeah, they came in and said, we got to take a month of your pay. So what are you talking about? And we don't have the money. So, I mean, you look at all this stuff, and all I can tell you is, if we stay focused on the kids, and you and I know the best things for the kids is having these sports and having people figure out what we do. I'm not sure I like the travel, because it's not just, every team's got to travel. So now if you're going from one side of the country to the other, that's a tough deal for young people. And, you know, they're not all traveling charter. Your tennis team is not going to go charter from one side of the country to the other. So there's that issue. And again, you're making decisions, you're thinking about kids. Is this the best thing for them?
Ask you another money question. I'm going to tell a quick story like you're not here, but I love this quote. I'd heard, I don't even want to guess who it was, because I think I know, but I don't want to. But a player of yours said after a year, listen, coach, I think I can go to the NBA. What should I do? And you said, if you want to do the best thing for my family, oh, you'll stay here in Kentucky. But if you want to do the best thing for your family, you're going to go. And I hope you prioritize your family over mine, which is a great way to frame it.
I didn't have the end there, but I did the other. I was hoping he came back and helped my family.
When you just talked about you went to Kokomo and you were in a living room, and when 1 year later you're seeing these kids go on to the NBA, sometimes generational wealth, all different opportunities, what is that like for you, especially in such a short period, to see these kids go from high school senior to millionaire?
I'll give you one story of DeMarcus Cousins. DeMarcus stayed 1 year. My good friend Charles Barkley said he'll be in school 3 years. Now, he was there 1 year and he busted through. He was the 5th pick of the draft or whatever he was. His mother calls me and she's in tears. And I'd been in their home. I knew how he grew up, and I thought something happened to Grandma. And I said, Miss Cousins, is Grandma okay? She said, no, she's fine. I just want to tell you, I'm in my new house. You're in a new house? Yes. I got wood floors. I got a fireplace, Coach, a fireplace. It burns wood. I said, really? Great. She says, I see the 9th green out my window. You're on a golf course, Miss Cousins? Yes, I'm on a golf course. Well, do you golf? She said, no. I said, why a golf course? Because I can. And so when you sit down and you see these families, our whole thing is, you know, I'm going to chase this with you. And they have lifetime scholarships. So if they leave after a year, stay in good academic standing, you can always come back. You know, we have 8 or 9 guys. We have 5 guys to graduate in 3 years. One of them was my son. 3 others were in the NBA. They graduated in 3 years. So this thing is, how do we prepare them? How do we give them some security that they can fail, yet they've got some insurance, that they got some backup? But the other side of it is the kids that I've coached have a genius, just like a pianist, just like someone that is a genius at golf. These kids are a genius at what they do, and they should chase their dream. And they should go do all that. And I did say it was DeJuan Wagner who I said it to. He said, what should I do? No, it was Tyreek Evans who I said it to. DeJuan Wagner, I tore up his scholarship paper in front of him. And the reason was John Lucas promised me he would draft him with the 6th pick or whatever it was. And as soon as he told me, I'm like, you're not coming back. You can be the 6th pick in the NBA, you're gone.
Yeah,
and I
right.
tore, and he did well. But then he got sick, and thank God he was in the NBA because of that. But Tyreek Evans came in after we lost the Sweet 16 or Elite 8 game. He said, what would you do? You want to do what's right for me and my family, you come back, we'll have some fun. Now, if you want to do what's right for you and your family, you pack your stuff and get out of here and just go. And I think, again, I always say this, because there are many of you out there saying, this is not right, they should be in school 4 years. And that's okay. I just say this to you. What if it were your son? You'd make him stay? And what if he got hurt and the opportunity he had, he never has? You would be okay. Yeah, because he's staying 4 years. Why? Because that's what we do. How about he goes back? How about this one? He makes so much money, he goes back and buys the university that he graduated from. So just a sidebar. You can cut in when you want, not much, but you go ahead. So Tyler Hero, did you hear of Tyler Hero? Okay, Tyler Hero's the greatest kid, 4-star player. You know, they all say, they were pros before they got there. No, he didn't play in the McDonald's game. He didn't play in the Jordan game. Neither did Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. They didn't. Neither did Eric Bledsoe, but they all left after a year, and they've done really well. So I call Chris Hero, and I said, your kid, I'm so happy. Tyler made $30 million a year? He said 32. And the numbers are outrageous, but you know what my kids have done? They know what their why is. First thing they do is they take care of their family. They take care of their mother. You read any of the stories of my guys, they get it. It's a holistic approach, what we need to teach, which is you're going to come across fame and fortune. What are you going to do with it? How are you going to use it to help other people? My kids in the NBA have won the Community Assist Award. John Wall, Anthony Davis, Karl Towns, Devin Booker. It's the award in the NBA, as you know. They all would like to win, but it's not just about giving money, because they all have money. It's about making a difference in a charity in your community. My guys have won that. Teaching them what joy's about, how you make somebody else feel, not how you feel. You want to be a great teammate. Pat Riley says to me, best thing about your guys, great teammates. They got to share. You're not taking 30 shots a game with us. So am I recruiting here? Is there any parents here that have kids that I can recruit?
You know,
is anybody awake here? We all good?
Stay on that point there. You are you're ripping off these names, Anthony Davis and Tyreek Evans and Cousins, and they're overlapping in a lot of cases. It's one thing for a coach, there's no I in team, and we're better as a unit than we are as individuals. But
you're going to a good place.
What are you doing here to get these guys?
What would you do if you brought in 4 or 5 really good players? I mean, really good young players. Karl Towns, Trey Lyles, Devin Booker, Tyler Ulis. Who else am I forgetting in there? We brought in 5 or 6. And 4 guys decide to come back. The Harrison twins, Willie Cauley-Stein, who ended up being the 7th pick of the draft, Poitras, we had Alex. I got 10 guys. They all can play. Which 7 or 8 do you play? Would you play the returning players? They deserve it. Okay. Karl Towns wouldn't have played, and neither would Devin Booker. How do you do it? Well, we let them all fight it out. And well, wait a minute. We went to the Final Four the year before. Do I just disregard those guys? Do I tell that's the year we platooned. We platooned. It killed our recruiting for 2 to 3 years. Why would you go there? You'll play 18 minutes a game. But it was the only way I could figure out how could we have them all eat. 6 guys drafted. The next year, 2, 3 more guys.
You just, what is best for all these kids? How we play different every year. Because I don't know who my team is. I can't go recruit and say, we're going to play this way. I don't even know who my team is. So, I enjoy it, though. If I had to have the same practice plan every year, I'd lose my mind. My mind it just starts moving, and then all of a sudden the players are saying, get the board, coach, stop, get the board. Am I even answering any questions, or am I
keep
just
going.
talking
I'm going to press you on that, because I think I'm going to press you on that, because it's a great point, because I think there are applications here that go beyond a basketball team. Put us in that locker room. How do you tell 10, 19-year-olds, look, there's only going to be one ball. Can't do anything about that. We're going to have to figure out a way, so you're only going to play 18, even though all of you guys have NBA potential. 18 minutes. How does that conversation go?
Well, we sit down, and then first of all, let me start by saying I can't recruit kids that aren't totally bought in, because I went from the business of basketball to the business of helping families. And that means 8 or 9 families, not your one child. So I can't have him come in and use 70% of my time because I cheat all these other kids. You got to understand, if you're drinking, smoking, clubbing, chasing, do not come to Kentucky. You can't. You'll be on the ticker, and I won't play you anyway. If you're not into basketball, you're into everything else, don't come to Kentucky. Yes, you're here for an education, but you understand you're going to compete. So part of it is, I tell every kid, you're not shooting 25 balls a game here. We lose kids because I'm saying that. I got my assistants. I will not promise a kid he'll start. I'm not doing it. I don't know. What if a kid gains weight? What if he gets hurt? Well, you didn't say anything about that. You just told me I'd start. Why am I not starting? I'm not doing that. But we lose kids because of that. I think the most important thing is, if you don't have trust, you're done. If you don't have trust, how do you gain trust? You tell the truth. You don't embellish. You tell them exactly what the truth is. The hardest thing you can do is come to Kentucky. You know why? It's everybody else's Super Bowl, and the guys on the team with you, they all have the same aspirations as you. And they're not giving you an inch. So you're in a dogfight in practice, and then you go in a game, and it's crazy. So all of a sudden, coming in, you're not shooting every ball. Everybody here, we spread it. I've had 5 and 6 guys in double figures. They say I'm the only guy that held Anthony Davis under 20. Do you know what Devin Booker did? I think we have some players there. Devin Booker did not start for me. He scored 70 in an NBA game. He's an all-star. That's the year I had 10 guys. But what they don't tell you is he started the second half of every game. Because I started these 5 in the first half, and I know your 5 are starting in the second half. So them sharing, they become great teammates. Just one thing. Volume shooters in the NBA. Give me a number there are 450 players. How many do you think are role players? 400. It's about right. There are 50 players that can shoot whenever they want. You better learn to be a role player. You're not going in that league unless you're one of the, now, I do want to tell you 14 of those 50 are my guys. But they weren't that for me. Now, every year we have 5 and 6 guys score 30 in a game. You just can't score 30 per game because this dude got to eat too. Now, that everyone knows that's our culture, which will go because let me give you Kelton Johnson. Kelton Johnson just got a big payday. He's going to make $20 million a year, 22, whatever it is. His dad did not, and Chris and I are good friends. Dad did not want him to come to Kentucky. He wanted him to go score 25 a game. He thought that was his path. The young man had to say to him, he said, Dad, I believed in you my whole life. Now I need you to believe in me. I want to play at Kentucky for this man. I don't care who they have. Now, he didn't average 25. He averaged about 14. But he's a first-round draft pick, and he just made $20 million a year. Numbers don't matter. Ego numbers matter to high schools. How about this one? Did you guys know there are 350 college teams? You know that, right? Do you know how many leading scorers there are? 350. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. They want to know analytically, can you play in our league? They want to know physically, can you play in our league? And so, that stuff for us, it's a different deal.
I can't remember.
Did he ask me a question, or am I just saying
great.
stuff?
They're here for you. You're doing great. Help me with this. Someone told when Anthony Davis, Player of the Year, I think he was like 4th or 5th on the team in shot attempts.
Yeah,
number one player.
Anthony Davis and Michael Kidd-Gilchrist were 1 and 2 in the draft. They were our 4th and 5th leading shot takers.
That's what it was, yeah.
4th and 5th. Do you want to know do you got? All right, this is aging you. Marcus Camby. Raise your hand if you know Marcus Camby. We have an old crowd here.
Look at our team here.
Okay, so no, they're not raising their hand.
Yeah, I know.
Marcus Camby played for me at UMass. I knew if I got him, it would be a breakthrough. No question. He was 7 foot tall. We never could get a big guy. They all went to the Big East and the ACC. I'm at UMass. Kid was from Hartford. I go in. He grew from 6'2" to 6'11" like in a year. He was a little guard. And then all of a sudden he's like, what? So I went in, and I'm not going to lie to him. I'm telling him the truth. And I looked at him and I said, what position do you want to play? And he said, I want to be a shooting guard.
6'11".
He's 6'11". So I can't lie to him. So I told him, okay. Then I told him, now our shooting guards do post up a lot, just so you know.
8 feet out with their back to the basket. You mentioned recruiting. I want to ask you, obviously your record speaks for itself as a recruiter, but I want to ask.
I've lost way more than I've gained, believe me. We lose kids left and right because what I'm saying to you is what I say in the home. Orlando will tell you. They get mad. Tell them he'll start. Please tell them he'll start. Not doing it. Then I do this. I've been there 13 years. We've started 39 freshmen. You want to start? Start. Why do I got to tell you? Mm-hmm. So the path is there. Anyway, go ahead. What were you asking?
No. What I want to know. That's keeping with that. What are you looking for? Like they're looking at you. You're making your pitch. They're trying to figure. But I want to know what you're looking for.
One of the things, if this happens, they're out. If I'm watching a game and a parent is in there screaming, the first thing I'll say to my staff, whose parent is that? They're going nuts. I can't have that. They're out. Unless the kid's real good. Then I'll deal with it. Look, I want to know, does this young person make everybody on the team better? Is he somebody that I'd like to be around every day? Cason Wallace comes in every day and screams at me, energy, coach, energy, big smile. Jamal Murray would come in and go like this, like make me smile. Smile, come on. You don't want to be around those kind of players and what they do to your team. The other one is the guy that has a competitive spirit and fights and is a warrior. You know why? What he does to your practice? I don't have to say it. He brings it up. Now all of a sudden you become pretty good. If I can teach them to have a kind heart and what joy's about and be a good teammate, and they compete like that, well, we're winning. We're winning. And it's hard doing it with young guys and new teams. Everybody, he should have won. Well, the biggest thing they say, he doesn't care about winning. He only cares about getting guys in the NBA. Not true, but if you want to pin it on me, go ahead. Because we do have 55 guys in the league, and they've made over $4 billion. Okay? So, but the whole thing is, if you win, everybody benefits. And here's what, have you heard of this kid, Oscar Tshiebwe? Raise your hand if you heard of Oscar Tshiebwe. Player of the year in the league. You know what he did in an interview? He said, look, All these trophies I have, the player of the year, unanimous, hadn't been done in 20 years, unanimous, only has my name on it. I want to win a trophy where everyone has their name on it. Come on, you don't want to coach that guy? And literally, look, I'll just say flat out, I'm a sinner. This kid makes me feel like a real sinner, like, oof. And those are the kind of guys you're looking for. The other ones that are into themselves and all that, it's just, what I'm trying to do is too hard to, one, bring a guy in that's not with us, or a family. Like, I don't deal with the parents. You know, after the games, I do, you know what the Heisman is? Yeah, I hold it and say, hey, how are you? And I walk by and be, hey, good to see you. Because I can't deal. I'm going to coach 12 players or 13 and 30 parents. Think about that job. Nope, I got these. We'll be fine. What did you ask me anyway?
No, it's the great answer. What else you're looking for when you're sitting across the table for that kid? What are you know, he's sussing you out. He wants to hear what you're going to promise, and I need 20 shots a game. What are you looking for?
You know what?
No parents, that's a good one.
I want to ask him questions about what are you looking for in your experience and all this stuff, and what's your why? Like, what's your why? Today, the kid told me his why, and the kid's one of the best 24s. His why is, I want to take care of my family, and I want to get them over here. That's your why, kid. You know what? You're going to get up early every day. You're going to fight through adversity because you have an unbelievable why. Most of my players, that's their why. They know what they're trying to do and why they're there and what they want to do. But, again, you know, we know when I'm sitting there and the kid is zoned into me. And then there have been places where I'm like telling these, let's go. Kid's late for a meeting with me. I'm sitting there. Then he's not too excited about us. Let's go. Come on. A kid asked me, well, you have so-and-so and you have so-and-so. Where's my bag? I'm in the wrong place. I thought I was in with one of the best players in the country. Damn, where's my bag? I got to go. So, you know, you want competitors. Anthony Davis said, I don't care where you play me. I don't care. You don't have to promise me anything. I'm coming to play for you and we're going to win. And yeah, and he's won the gold medal and world championships. And the other one was Eric Bledsoe, who said to me, Coach said, are you going to recruit John Wall if my kid goes? I said, yeah. He said, why would you do that? They're both point guards. I said, Coach, what would you do if your two best players were the same position? Well, I'd play them both. What am I different? Play them both. Doesn't matter. So you want guys that, the kid I told today, I'm not going to beg you. You got to want this as bad as I want to coach you, or it doesn't work. And it's, you know, that's, you know, the name, image, and likeness, the stuff that you want, the ego stuff. It's hard, man. Here's what I tell them. It's like a funnel, and it gets tighter and tighter and tighter as you go up this ladder, and you want to be, like, I want to be in the league a long, long time. Okay, now it's like that. And how are you going to get through? By somebody giving you something? Or are you going to sacrifice so much that you bust your way through because you're not going to surrender? And so our place is, we don't beg them to go in the gym. But here's what I say. You don't have to make every shot. You just can't miss every shot. And if you miss shots in a game, your ass better be in that gym when I walk in there at night and see that you're shooting. Or you better go in a game and don't shoot. Well, why shouldn't I shoot? I should get shots too. What? This ain't communism. You make more shots, you get it. I had to tell him the other day, we're practicing. Oscar shoots 70%. Dude, you're shooting 28%. Shoot less and give him more shots. I mean, this ain't hard. So, you know, keeping it real is, you want me to keep it real, they'll all say yes. And then I keep it real with them. They're like, no, you keep it real with him. You don't need to keep it real with me.
The scoreboard is a great virtue of sports, right? Most of us don't get to look at something that says, did you do better than the other guy? How was your day? But that aside, what is the difference between a great game and a good game? I mean, what are you looking for that sort of...
Look, I have been I can remember back where we win a game and I come in the locker room and I go crazy. And I go crazy because they were bad and we were bad and we won. It's not good. There were other games, if we lose, very rarely do I say much after a loss because I'll probably say the wrong thing. So I just won't say much. I'll go in, quickly put your stuff on, let's get on the bus and let's get out of here. Let's get home. We'll talk about it tomorrow. The other reason is you got to watch the tape because you think you know until you watch the tape. And then you got to go apologize to some guys. I said it was you, and it wasn't you, it was him. It was you, but it wasn't him, so I wait. But I'm probably harder on my guys after wins than I am losses.
I'll ask you one more, and then we'll get to these audience questions. These look good. I want to ask you, this is really old school. Remember Roger Bannister breaks the 4-minute mark on the mile? Anyone know the world record mile time? A guy wins, he runs a mile under 4 minutes. It's like front page news. I think it's like 3:42 or 3:43 now. Sports are made to get better. It's made to evolve. What's the quality of college basketball right now to when you started coaching 30 years ago?
The game has changed. Do you all remember when it was Twin Towers? The two bigs? Do you remember when athleticism was king? Do you remember when you had a point guard, a 2-guard, a 3-man, a 4-man, a 5-man? It's all positionless now. Whoever rebounds it brings it up. And you remember all the plays you had to run? It's random. They're actions, but it's random. So the game has changed. Do you remember when I brought in dribble drive and everybody thought I was nuts? Where we just spaced the court. You remember the old way of playing was passing it 5 times before you shoot? You remember that? They got to pass it 5 times, and then you had to screen.
Right.
You got to go screen somebody. Passing, you're knocking this guy, he's knocking you. And then all of a sudden, you got to look at me. All of us are in the lane. There's 10 of us in there and 2 officials. There's 12 guys in there. The game now is all spacing. And you ready? Skill is king. Skill is king. If you're really skilled, you don't have to be a great athlete. How about the Duncan guy in Miami? He was a Division III player. Can shoot. He has a little size. Who can he guard? What? What'd you say? You said no one. Exactly. I didn't say no one. He said no one. But they paid him $90 million. You hear what I just said? Skill is king. It is a benefit to every player because all they got to do is get in the gym and be better skilled than everybody else. I don't have to worry that I'm not the biggest, I don't jump the highest, I'm not the fat. I'm going to be the most skilled. Your son is playing this sport and he's young, make him the best ball handler. Don't worry about shooting yet. The best ball handler. The most skilled players now. It may change in 5-8 years. I always wanted to play 5, 6, 9 players at one time. That was my goal. A point guard, a couple wings, a big, and maybe they're all 6'9". Because you could switch everybody's 6'9". Like you're playing a zone. We're all playing, and you got all basketball players. But someone will do it. It's positionless. It's random. The longer, the better. But you see Steph Curry. If you stood next to him, you'd say, really? Really? And there he is. He's like one of the best in the league because he's just most skilled.
I was talking to another coach, I guess, last year. He said, when I was coming up, everyone wanted to dunk like Jordan. They wanted to stick their tongue out. They'd lower the goal to 8 feet so they could do crazy reverse dunks. And now they all want to be Curry, and they're shooting from the parking lot. And it's one dribble over. Do you have a preference, and do you see that, this change at the most recreational level? Does that come up to you?
The issue is everybody has a workout guide now. So how many of you played basketball? You played 5-on-5 pickup all the time? Raise your hand. Show me your age. Okay. How many of you did it outdoors? Oh my God, don't. You played outdoors, but you played 5-on-5. How about you call people, and every Wednesday we played here, and every Sunday after church we went and played over here with the old guys. I mean, now they're all workout guys. So now they're working out with an individual. So we as coaches, when I get them, I got to do a lot of 5-on-5 and not as many drills as I used to do, because I got to get them to learn to play for each other. Like, I'll see a guy and he's doing, I call him man-made. Look at this guy, man-made. He's he's doing stuff like no one else is on the court. I'm going to do this and step back and shoot it. You ran into two guys. There are people out here. So I call them man-made. Man-made, man-made. So it has changed. But I'll tell you, they're so skilled. And the NBA is so skilled. Like, when they're open, that ball goes in. And, who are the big guys that they post up? Can you name them? Anybody watch the NBA? Give me one. Post up.
Heard an Embiid.
Like they go, and Embiid will, but Embiid goes to 8 feet and shoots jumpers.
Right.
Who?
Yeah.
Who? Jokic is not he's a scorer. This kid, they put him all over the place. I mean, go in the post and do Moses Malone, and they're just,
Right.
How about this one? The guys that are getting max deals, in most cases, aren't the big guys. They got all the money not 10 years ago. I come back to, again, we've changed how we play based on where this stuff is going. And me, if I'm going to do right by my players, I got to prepare them for what this is, whether it be terminology and all the other stuff that we do. So I'm enjoying what I'm doing. I'm loving it, getting to change families' lives. I'm not afraid to hold them accountable. If you came in my practice, I'm not swearing, cussing, kicking balls and punching. I'm not. It's not good enough. We have a helmet. We give out the helmet award every day. A football helmet sits on our table. What would be a football helmet? If you get dunked on, the dude that dunks on you gets to put the helmet on your head. If you don't want him to put the helmet on your head, you better go dunk on somebody else, and then you get to put the helmet on his head. Again, anything to get their competitive spirit. Why we did it. One kid said, he didn't dunk on me. He didn't dunk on me. Yeah, get over here. Put it on his head.
Roll the tape. All right, we got some good, these are good questions. You ready? All right, what advice to a young coach in their first year of coaching college basketball what word of advice you'd give? That's good.
If you were a head coach, there'd be two pieces of advice. One would be, if you care about the players and you're genuine, you'll always have a job. So that's number one. If you really care and you're genuine, you'll always have a job. Second thing, Pat Nardelli grew up with me, and he was older than me. I was in Pittsburgh. I got the UMass job in 1988. I was 28 years old, I think. And he was a businessman from Moon Township. And we thought he was so wealthy that this was, everybody's dad was a laborer. This guy had a strip mall. We were like, he came up to me and said, I got some advice for you. You got this job. I'm so proud of you. Just listen to me, because I've done business my whole life. You can have a bad deal with good people, because stuff happens. But you can never have a good deal with bad people, ever. Don't care what it smells like, looks like. I'm going to hire him to get this. This guy, don't do it. You stick with good people, and you'll be fine. So everybody I hire, every player, the people around me, my managers, it's all based on I got to have good people around me, because things will work out. And if they don't, stuff happens. Except St. Peter's. That shit stunk. I was down in New
wasn't going
Jersey.
there.
Everywhere I go, they're like, I graduated from St. Peter's. Don't tell me. There's not that many people that graduated from St. Peter's. 100 people telling me. Made a lot of people happy that day.
All right, switching gears. What kind of potential corruption could NIL lead to?
Maybe gambling. Gambling, maybe. The money coming in, and all of a sudden this guy's trying to do it that way. That would be an issue, maybe. The other corruption would be if you're inducing inducements, which is there's supposed to be a contract with the business. Here's what you need to do, and here's what I'm going to pay you. Or you just say, look, I'm just giving you $300,000. We'll figure out later what you do, and maybe you don't do anything. That could be the corruption. Collectives where that person is calling recruits, that looks dicey to me. But I again, folks, on my wall says coach your team. So all the stuff that swirls, at the end of the day, I sit at my desk and look, coach your team, coach your guys. That's what you do. And then try to stay ahead of what's happening around me.
Got a lot of NIL questions. I thought this was the boring. I thought this was I thought this was the homework before we got to the fun stuff. People are in. All right, let's. I'll give one NIL, which is. Do you think players will ever? This is a good question. Do you think players will ever be paid directly? Why or why not?
Could be, but they'll then be considered employees. And if they're employees, they're going to have to pay tax on their scholarship too. Now all of a sudden you got to pay tax. Do you want to know what my solution was? And no one listens to me. I want you to understand, my wife doesn't listen to me. I call my dogs, they run the other way. Believe me when I tell you. I said, why don't we buy every athlete on campus the rights to their name, image, and likeness? So every track, we're going to give you all $4,000. We own your rights. Every basketball player, maybe we give $15,000. Every football player, whatever. But there'll be some athletes that'll say, I want to go earn the money. And you say, you can, but you got to pay for your own scholarship. Is that simple? Now you're thinking about it. So now, we're paying for you don't have to sell it if you want to keep it. Most of the kids aren't making that much money. The ones that are making money are my first-round draft picks. They're making money. The other players on my team are making money because I give them the camp, and a couple businesses are doing team stuff. Morgan & Morgan. You've heard of Morgan & Morgan? My kids are going to be in Times Square. He's putting them on a billboard in Times Square on those ones that change. So when we go up to New York, they're going to be up there. Each kid will get a check for that. So why not do it that way? Right?
Makes sense.
Does it? Oh, they looked at me like, you're so dumb. Okay. I am pretty dumb too, by the way.
I like that though. All right, what's
Give
the
me
biggest
credit
thing?
when you put that
yeah,
in Sports
exactly. That's
Illustrated.
we
So
can
this
build,
was
we
from
can
me.
build on that one. All right, what's the biggest thing a high school player needs to do to get a college scholarship? Which you sort of talked about with skill, but also it sounds like there's an attitude component.
Yeah, but I would say, part of it becomes there's a level of physicality and size you're going to have, and you can't be delusional because you can get a scholarship at Division II. What's the difference? You could be at a Division III school and get financial aid, and you'll be fine. And you get to play a team sport, and you really have fun with it. When you start talking, let me tell you what's changed. Wait till you hear this one. Transfer portal. Do you know how many scholarships have been not given out because of transfer? You say, well, what do you mean? Every coach in the country is holding back at least 2 scholarships for transfers. So you know who doesn't get those scholarships? High school kids. You're talking 700, 800 scholarships I have a good friend of mine in Florida whose son's 6'4" and a pretty good shooter. He walked on at Wisconsin. He said, Cal, my son's not a bad player. He's probably middle to lower division UMass, and we can't get a scholarship. Everybody's holding them. Think about that. So there's all kind of stuff out there that I said would happen. I said, we're all going to hold back. I have 11 kids on scholarship. I always did it that way because I like giving walk-on scholarships. So in the end, I'd give them walk-on a scholarship, and, you know, most of them. If you're a manager, I know your father. You're not like, this ain't for funsies. I know your father. If you're a manager and I don't know your father, tell me how you got on this manager. And if you're a walk-on, oh, I know your father. So, or there's some reason I know you. Who do I? And so you get a chance to scholarship kids and do that, but not a good deal.
What's your strategy, and I think I get this question, what's your strategy for dealing with clutter, which I assume means so-and-so tweeted this, and check out this Instagram video, and sort of everything, maybe it's through the phones, everything that isn't essential to basketball. How do you rise above that?
I'll just say, me personally, I think I have 1.5 million Twitter followers, probably 800,000 Facebook followers, probably, what's the other one, Snapchat, or what is it?
Instagram, yeah.
What is it?
Instagram. Yeah.
That one too. Now, I don't do everything that goes out is mine, but I don't do it. There's someone there that does it for me, and we send this out and send a tweet out, do something. But I never read one response. So if you ever respond to me and you're nasty, have fun, because I don't read it. I'm not going to look at any of that. I try to tell my team that. You read the Twitter? You don't even know who the person is. What do you care? But they read it and they look at it. So my thing is, you just don't. You give out what you want. You shape it how you want. And you don't read this stuff. So I don't read it. The only time I see a newspaper would be when I drive over it in the morning or drive out. You know, I don't watch local news. Anybody watch the Alaska shows? They're really good. Last Frontier. Anybody watch that stuff? I always think I'm going to go to Alaska and live someday. That's what I'm going to do. And I tell my wife, she says, you'll be chased by a bear. I go, all I got to do is outrun you. I'm fine. But I don't get caught up in all that stuff. I just don't. And I always say, I got more bazooka holes in my body from shots people have taken. When they shoot a pistol and arrow, it doesn't touch skin. It just goes right through one of those holes, whoop, out the other end. Stay focused on your team. How do I help these kids get better? How many individual meetings do I need to have with guys? We had a sports psychologist come in twice already, meet individually with players, meet with us as a team, meet with our staff. Because what these kids are dealing with, none of us dealt with. How about you're on my team and you're seeing a draft list and your name is on it, but it's all the way at the top. Every shot you take is a draft position. You going to make any shots? How about what they see on these phones? Look, my guys, when the game's over, they go right in. They got to meet in the video room so they can't go to their phones. But they know their phones are in that locker room, so some of them are like, I got to get into the phone, and we hit, and they're knocking heads to get through the door to dive and see who. I mean, how about cameras everywhere? How many of you would have been arrested if there were cameras everywhere when we grew up? The two guys, Joey and Zoom, who I went to school with, Joe Malice, we would have been arrested. Believe me when I tell you. All the things that they have to deal with now. Geez, I just tell them all the time, I appreciate my guys. What they have to deal with at their age. We lost to St. Peter's. My teams have never lost a game like that. I had to worry about guys because they were getting crushed. The game ended, I took responsibility. This was my fault. Don't blame them. I should have figured out a way. Bang, bang, bang. But they still got killed. They're 18, 19. I get killed. I'm 47. What's what? What? Why are people laughing? Ron, don't you laugh. Wasn't funny. So they're 17 and 18. How about if you were getting pummeled at 17 and 18? You get pummeled, and they're calling you the worst unit and stuff they say. You can't, it's ridiculous. I feel for my guys, but we're also trying to help them brand themselves to make sure they understand what you do and what you say. How about this? I had to tell my own son, you retweeted that. What are you, nuts? I didn't tweet it. You retweeted it. It means you agree. So how about this? These young people at their age tweet one thing that's ridiculous, and then they try to grab it and bring it back. It's out there. And it could come back when you don't know, and all of a sudden you don't get a job because I said something when I was 18. Yeah. And they got to deal with all that. So, like I say, today's, yes, the benefits they have, I would hope no one here begrudges the opportunities these kids have. I hope you don't begrudge. I hope you look at it and say, man, I was born in the wrong time. You could say that. I wish I was born now and had this stuff. But the reality of it is what they have to deal with is stuff we never had to deal with. That's why I respect them so much. I mean, I'm thinking, me at 18, I couldn't have coached me, just so you know that. My coach is here. Is he still here and awake? Where is he? Yeah. This guy. We had the most enthusiastic coach ever. Unbelievable. Joe, where are you? Stand up so they can see you. He is standing up. He's about 4'3". There he is in the back. I tell him stand up, and he says, I am standing up. What else? Any other questions?
I'll give you 2 60 minutes questions, and then we'll call. I mean, first, what's it like? I mean, this is a home game for you. What's this like for you?
Oh, this isn't a home game. This is Jeff Zumagel said to me, do you believe in free speech? And I said, yes. He said, good, you're coming to Erie to give one.
That's right. Great line.
You know what I do enjoy doing?
We got to go home. That's our line of the night.
That's it. But being able to meet friends and coaches and I love it because, I have been so blessed in my life. Things have happened for me, and only by the grace of God, when I go by somebody that's homeless we all grew up the same where I grew up. And some guys busted through and other guys didn't. And then you look at what happened. Well, they did one stupid thing and they never recovered from it. And I could have been there with them when they did it. And by the grace of God that, like they said, I was, as a player, I was small, but I was slow. But the game of basketball for me taught me how hard you had to work. That if you really give into it, you can see improvement quickly. You better build your own self-esteem because no one can take that away. If someone else has to build it for you, that same person can take it away. If someone tells you, we're going to take care of you the rest of your life, don't worry about it, what? That's a lie. You better prepare yourself to take care of yourself because this stuff is hard. And you know what? I just would hope as I've done this, I haven't forgotten. The best compliment is you're the same asshole you were when you went to college. You're the same guy. That's a compliment to me. Like I don't think I'm the best coach ever. I don't even think there are high school coaches better than me. I just got a better opportunity. And hopefully I'm helping young people with this opportunity. Just one last thing. I grew up in a household where my mom used to say, dream beyond your surroundings. This isn't you. You were born here. This isn't what you need to be. You dream beyond this. The other thing she was a regifter. Do you know what a regifter is? Some of you are laughing. These guys, you have no idea what a regifter is. A regifter is, we didn't have anything to give somebody, so when they came in our house at Christmas, she grabbed your stuff and repacked it. Boom, and there it goes. But it was always about paying it forward. Her line to me was always, they need it more than you. I said, Mom, it's the only sweater I got. I finally got a sweater and you're giving it away. They need it more than you. Where is the candlesticks? This happened. Where are the candlesticks? I got those for my teacher who's been great to me. I gave them to your Uncle Jim. What? I'm going to Uncle Jim. Go get them. So I drove to his house. I said, Uncle Jim, she gave you the wrong thing. Here's what she wanted to give you. I need those candlesticks. He said, I already gave them away. That's how I grew up, but I wouldn't have wanted it any other way. If I had a credit card when I grew up, I'm done. Done. I would have been in debt the rest of my life. I couldn't have bought a car, a house, or anything else. Does that make sense or no? We're just talking now.
That's great. That's what we...
All right, we're going to do this. One question from a lady. Stand up and yell it out. One.
Ooh, good.
There you go. What's that? Oscar's D. Here's what happened. It was swelled a little bit. The kid didn't miss any practice, but it swelled. I said, take today off because we got the pro day the next day, which was Sunday. He went through pro day, was unbelievable, better than I've ever seen him play. And I said to the people, the 60 NBA scouts, he's not going tomorrow, though, because he's not doing 2 days if it's still swelled. Went and checked. There was a little floating. If you've ever had a knee issue where you had a floating body inside your knee, it could go anywhere. They saw it, and they said, we need to take it out. It's a 15-minute thing, but he'll be down a couple weeks. But he needs to do it. He's telling me I'm good. I don't need to do it. You need to do it. Yeah. Any other? Any of you players have a question? Any players?
Yeah, good.
Just yell it out.
Players.
All right.
And I'll give you one.
Go ahead.
This season will be a success if blank.
We're competing against ourselves this season. If we become our best version and we become a great group, as you advance, and I've done this, I'm very young, but I've done this like 35 years. So I started when I was 8.
12.
Okay? But 35 years, what you find out, when you expect something, normally it doesn't happen, and when it happens, it's least expected. Do you think Kansas expected to win the national title? Do you understand we beat them by 30 at Kansas? They didn't expect to win. When you least expect it, there's stuff that what you want to do is put your team in the best position. You do that by, we're playing against ourselves. How good can we be? And if that's not good enough, I'll take responsibility, which is what I try to do. Good question, though.
Man, it's a great one. We learned that cream cheese is an impermissible benefit. You're 47. This is one of the great titans, not just of college basketball or basketball, but really all of sports. And between your wins and your track record, putting guys in the league, it's a lot.
John, I appreciate it, and I enjoyed being up here with him. This guy's big time, and for me to be up here and him asking the questions, and then I watch 60 Minutes and I see him again, I'm like, that guy's a pretty good guy. He's not bad. I tell my wife.
Coach Cal, everyone, thanks. That was great.
Thank you, folks.